On Valentine's Day, I personally made a box of chocolates for Jimmy and confessed my feelings, but unfortunately, what I got was rejection.
Sorry, Molly, I can't date you, but can we still be friends?
Before I could answer out of nowhere, Ben suddenly attacked Jamie.
How dare you reject my sister?
I panicked and tried to stop him, but Jamie had already run away while crying. Hi, I'm Molly, and that is Ben, my twin brother. Although we were born only 5 minutes apart, Ben had always been more mature and treated me like a baby while giving me too much unwanted attention. He was everything everywhere at once and messed it all up. Sometimes, I thought that if our mom was still alive, surely things would have been better. Since she passed away, Dad's always busy earning extra income for the family. As for me and Ben, we had to rely on each other, although Ben took the role of being an older brother a bit too serious. I still remember the day I woke up with a severe stomach ache. It was the first period in my life and it hurt so bad, so much more than I imagined. I spent an hour in the bathroom, then walked out with an irritated face. Immediately noticing the abnormality, Ben approached me. I shyly avoided all his questions, but he had already figured it out.
Oh gosh, don't tell me Aunt Flo has visited you.
In panic, he rushed to the locker, pulled out a bunch of tampons and put them in front of me. Then he expertly introduced me to the uses of each.
Don't worry. I know you're scared because Mom isn't here, but I've already prepared for this day. Let me help you.
Wow, slow down. That's too much. I can take care of myself. I awkwardly grabbed my breakfast and left for school despite my brother calling my name from behind. He's so weird. Why does he even care about something like this? But it didn't end there. During PE class, I was practicing basketball when suddenly my bestie aunt panicked and patted my shoulder. Hey, is that your brother? I followed her hand and saw Ben's spots lurking behind a nearby tree. Isn't he supposed to have a math class? Why is he here? I panicked and ran to him. What are you doing here? Ben surreptitiously looked around. Quickly, he took out a box of tampons and shoved it to my hands.
Hey, take it. It'll be necessary.
Come on, Ben. Don't worry about this anymore. I embarrassedly shoved the bags back to him and chased him away. After a while, I suddenly heard a loud shouting. Turns out, Ben still hadn't returned to his classroom and stayed to watch after me. It was his sneaky look that made my PE teacher suspicious. He grabbed my brother and interrogated him fiercely. The other students also gathered to watch them. I panicked and rushed to rescue Ben. Sir, he's my brother. He has no ill intentions.
So why is he sneaking around here?
Because I couldn't explain why, my teacher grabbed Ben's wrist and dragged him to the office. Ben struggled to escape, but during the struggle, the bags of tampons in his pocket fell out in front of everyone's eyes. At that point, I had to confess the truth. My teacher was so flustered and the students around us laughed crazily. After that day, Ben and I became the laughing stock of school. Although Ben tried to apologize to me, I still refused to talk to him and confided everything in Vale, my internet friend who I met from a fan page of Maroon 5. Vale was so sweet and funny that I had a secret crush on him. After hearing my story, Vale advised me to make up with my brother, but I wasn't happy about it.
Okay, I hope this news will cheer you up. I'll come to your city in 2 weeks to see Maroon 5's concert. Would you like to come with me?
I happily jumped when I heard that. Of course, I agreed. I had been wanting to meet him in real life so much. Soon after, we planned our first meeting. But surprisingly, somehow, Ben found out about my date. He was determined to not let me see Vale.
You're such a fool, Molly. That guy is definitely a catfish.
No! How can you be sure of that?
I'll prove it to you.
After thinking for a while, Ben proposed a bold idea. He would take my place to go see Vale and expose the true horrible face of my internet friend. We made a deal that if Ben was right, I would do everything he said. And if Ben was wrong, he wouldn't interfere in my life anymore. Soon after, our plan was put into place. Because we're twins, it was easy for Ben to pretend to be me. I helped him do his makeup, choose appropriate clothes, and taught him some feminine gestures. Ben learned everything I thought extremely seriously. Honestly, I wanted to laugh so much at that ridiculous scene. You know, Ben could look very pretty if he wanted to. As scheduled before the concert, Vale and I would have dinner together. He was already waiting at a fancy restaurant when Ben walked in unsteadily in high heels. He clumsily bumped into Vale and both of them fell to the ground. Jeez! Luckily, the wig didn't fall out and Vale was absolutely obvious. While they were eating, I sat in corner and watched. The date went well and Vale acted like a gentleman. I looked at my brother triumphantly when he grimaced. Poor Ben, he had been wearing high heels all day for nothing. When the concert ended, Vale took my brother home unscathed. Just when I thought I had won, something unexpected happened. On the way home, Vale suddenly kneeled and gasped. Panicked, Ben bent down to check on him. Suddenly, Vale pulled the syringe from his pocket. As fast as lightning, Ben grabbed his wrist and twisted it back, causing the syringe to be thrown away.
I knew it! You're a freaking catfish!
I quickly rushed over to them and saw Vale breathing heavily.
That is my insulin. I need to inject it urgently.
Turns out, Ben had misunderstood the situation. Vale was born with diabetes and that syringe was not anesthetic but insulin. He must inject it every time he has a sudden drop in blood sugar or else he'll be in danger. Immediately, I retrieved the syringe for Vale and saved him in time. But after learning that my brother and I had worked together to trick him, Vale was furious. He abandoned us on the road and went back to his hotel. I threw all my resentment at my brother and angrily went home. Days after, even though Ben tried to apologize again, I still ignored him. Because I was angry and hurt, I decided to take revenge on my brother. Knowing that he was about to have an important fitness test at the school football team, in the evening, I sneaked into his room and turned off the alarm. As a result, Ben was disqualified for being late. After learning that I was one setting him up, we had the biggest argument ever. Just like that, we slowly drifted apart. Dad seemed to be aware of the tension between us, so that night, he came to talk to me. I told him what happened and that I didn't want to see my brother ever again.
Molly, please try to understand Ben. He's been through a lot.
He gently told me that before Mom died, he asked Ben to take care of me. That's why, even though we're the same age, he's made himself more mature to protect and take care of me in place of our parents. Ben had put all his heart and soul into raising me, yet I had never thanked him. But still, the way he looked out for me was still wrong. With that encouragement, I approached my twin brother. Hey, Ben, I wanted to thank you and sorry for what happened. He smiled and patted my hand.
I'm sorry too, sis. I was too selfish and did everything I wanted while ignoring your feelings. Molly, you're my only sister. I just want you to be happy.
I burst into tears and hugged him. I was stupid for not realizing that I had such a great brother. All our problems were finally solved.
While I was carrying a bunch of books from the library, I accidentally dropped my glasses. Being heavily short-sighted, it took me quite a while to search the ground, but just as I touched my glasses, suddenly Susan came and trampled it. Get away from my way, nerd! Just like that, she left, leaving me alone with my broken glasses. Hi, I'm Nancy. With my appearance, I bet you can already guess that I'm a huge bookworm. Kind of stereotype, I know. And some people even see it as a sign of being a loser, but you probably wouldn't expect that an ordinary girl like me would become the obsession of Susan and May, the two most popular chicks in my school. For some reason, they saw me as their number one enemy and were always looking for a way to make a fuss. It all started with a charity fundraiser at the beginning of the school year. The student council required each club to prepare a booth to participate. Every year, Susan and May's kissing booth were the most popular and raised the most money, claiming the title of the school's best club. It was their pride. However, there was a big chance that year. Initially, my club was going to open a nail booth, but at the last minute, we received news that the local pet spa was temporarily closed and many people hadn't found a replacement. Seizing that opportunity, I asked everyone in the club to switch from a nail booth to a pet care booth. That's how we overtook Susan and May as the club that raised the most money. Needless to say, it pissed them off. They approached me with anger. "You fraud! You think you can beat us?" "Calm down, Susan. I didn't mean that at all. It was all for charity." "Nonsense! You pay for this!" Suddenly, Susan glanced meaningfully at May. Receiving the signal, the blondie quickly pushed me down, but I was able to dodge it, and in return, May lost balance and fell into the dog bath. Her whole body was covered with soap. Ugh! So useless! Susan furiously left, and May hurriedly followed her like a tail. Since then, they started targeting me. Things only got worse when Zach, Susan's boyfriend, was also dragged into it. Everyone in the school knew about them, the hot cheerleader and the richest jock. It was known that the prom king and queen titles were meant for them, but then an unexpected thing happened. That day, during history class, Mr. Hank asked us to pair up to film a video introducing a local tourist destination. While everyone had found their partner, there was just me, Susan, and Zach left. Obviously, no one wants to pair up with you, nerd. Sorry, babe, but I'll pair up with Nancy. Both Susan and I gasped in surprise at Zach's decision. What the hell are you thinking? Don't you remember? We had to take this class twice because we were partners, and we both sucked at history. My parents will kill me if I fail the third time. But why her? She's the top student. Duh. The two of them quickly got into an argument. Because I didn't want to get into trouble, I wanted to decline Zach's offer, but before I could say anything, Susan turned to me angrily. "You haven't won yet, worm. May and I will pair up, and you both will regret this." But Susan, I found my partner. Shut up! Are you disobeying me? After saying that, Susan dragged May away. Looks like we're already Susan's enemies. So, partners? Zach held out his hand and I sighed as I took it. With that, the two of us were officially assignment partners. The next day, Zach and I met up to discuss the history project. Aside from having a poor memory and awful sense of humor, he was easy to work with. Zach was decent and active in teamwork. Days after, as we finally finished the project video, we hung back to chat for a while. Zach asked me about the worst party I had ever been to, and I shyly told him that I had never been invited to one. He was so taken aback, but quickly recovered. "My buddy is having a party this weekend. Why don't you join me?" "But come on, we must celebrate finishing the assignment." At his persuasion, I agreed to join him. Honestly, since it was my first time, I was so nervous that I spent the whole afternoon choosing the best outfit. At 7 p.m., Zach picked me up and drove me to the party. The bustling atmosphere and the wild crowd really overwhelmed me. Zach led me to an open space and left to get me a drink. Just as he left, Susan and May appeared. They were surprised by my presence. "Oh, isn't this the infamous nerd? Did you sneak into this party? Obviously, nobody would invite you here." "Shut up, Susan. Zach invited me." "What? How dare you two?" Susan furiously grabbed my shirt and we both started arguing heatedly. Suddenly, Susan looked at May and shouted, "Don't just stand there, dumbass! Help me!" May was startled and rushed over to push me down, but accidentally made both Susan and me fall into the pool. Luckily, Zach appeared in time. He brought me to the pool side and gave me his jacket. "Stop it, Susan! You're overdoing it!" Then Zach led me away. He took me to the bathroom so I could change and quickly went out to get his car. Just as I was just stepping out, Susan also came in to change. She roughly nudged my shoulder, which pissed me off. "What's your problem? You are! I hate you and your stupid attitude. A loser like you dares to compete with me? Get lost!" Outraged, I left. On the due date of the history assignment, after we had all transferred our project videos from the USBs to Mr. Hank's laptop, we started taking turns giving the presentation. Everything was fine until it was our turn. When I opened the video, instead of the footage that Zach and I took it was Susan changing clothes in the bathroom at the party the other day. We all panicked. Susan screamed and tried to turn off the laptop. Right after that, we were taken to the principal's office. Susan blamed me for spying on her for revenge. Although I tried to explain, all the evidence was against me. Everyone knew Susan and I hated each other, and that USB was also mine. The principal gave me a week to prove my innocence, or I would be suspended. So for the next few days, I tried to gather the evidence. Fortunately, Zach still trusted me and was willing to help me find the real culprit. However, almost a week passed, but we hadn't gotten anything.
Don't give up. I'll help you with everything I got.
We watched that video again. Finally, Zach noticed a difference. At the last second of the video, the mirror caught the reflection of the sneaky recorder. That person was wearing a glittering sequin shirt.
Gotcha. Now we only need to find who wore it.
Zach's words woke me up. I suddenly realized who was behind it all. The next morning, we went to see the school principal. In front of everyone, I confidently showed my deduction. The person filming that scene was May. She was the only one wearing a sequin at the party that day. Anyone who was there can confirm it. And she was the last to transfer her video to Mr. Hank's laptop. With that, May had no other way but to confess the truth. Susan angrily shouted to her friend, "May! Why did you do that to me? Aren't we friends?" "Friends? You always treat me like your servant. I was very patient, but you didn't know when to stop. No more licking your boots, Susan." Needless to say, Susan was utterly shocked. She realized she was too much for everyone, and now she even lost her only close friend. About May, she was suspended from school. Finally, I can take a breath now.